Oh, hello. Welcome to Cauldron Her Daddy, a podcast about sex, magic, astrology, and whatever else Meredith and I want to talk about. I'm Sarai Johnson, a somatic sexologist and a witch.
And I'm Meredith Holley, an astrologer, human design reader, and a witch. And today we are talking about August of 2026. And Sarai has pulled some cards for us. The theme of August 2026 is total eclipse of the heart. And so, with that theme, Sarai has some cards to share.
Yes, we are going to be talking about TEOTH, total eclipse of the heart. And the way the reading is laid out, it looks like an upside down heart. So that was pretty cute, I think. But yes, let's go ahead and get started. So the first part of total eclipse of the heart is turn around. You know it. You know it. I know it. Oh, also, yeah, I also just want to dedicate this to the memory of Bonnie Tyler, who just recently left this earthly coil 1 month ago. So, or actually just this month. It's still July. Yeah. Goodbye, Bonnie.
Deeply love this song. So I am just delighted that you took the eclipse theme and really blossomed it into something magical for all of us.
I think that Bonnie would be very happy about it. And so I feel good about honoring her memory with this card. So turn around, bright eyes. What are we not noticing that is calling us? Is the question for the tarot. And the card for that is Emperor. And the Emperor is interesting. There's like multiple ways for me to read this, but I'm going to go with the Sarai version. I mean, this whole spread could be read upside down and turned around, and it could be about dominion and fascism. It could be. And also, it could be about us using these cards for our own benefit. So that's the way I'm going to read this. And we can also talk about the other implications if we'd like to. But yeah. So Emperor, what are we not noticing that's calling us? The Emperor card is an invitation to create structures that can support the wild vine that's growing. It's a way for us to decide what we're going to plant and then plant it. It's a way for us to structure things so that we build containers for things to happen within. So the Emperor, in this case, in the way that I'm trying to read it, as the total eclipse of the heart, what are we looking at this eclipse season? One, I'm going to skip ahead also because I'll note that the Emperor is about building structures. And then the closing card that we'll get to at the end is the Devil. So it's sort of a bookends where the Devil is about releasing yourself basically from structures or systems that are oppressive. So the Emperor is, in this deck, the Fifth Spirit Tarot by Charlie Claire Burgess, which is my favorite deck of all time. Thank you, Meredith, for the gift. The Emperor is not about authoritarianism, is not about domineering, but it is about being supportive and creating basically supports for life. And I think that's beautiful.
That's really cool. I always think of the Emperor as owning our power in some ways, and all in the same way having clarity around what we don't have control over, but also deep realism around what we do have control over, which is a lot. I did this meditation one time where you take all of the major arcana cards and you do a meditation where you go into the card. And in the Emperor one, it was like this really profound experience to me where it was like this person who had intense amount of influence over everything around him just through using his voice and his energy. And it was me within the card. I think that is cool. It's also really interesting because in that card and in the Rider-Smith-Waite deck, I feel like there is a symbol of the sun related to it. And we're in the middle of summer right now. And I keep thinking about how the sun is like the food for all life, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
if the sun were like, oh, oops, I'll just scooch back here. I don't want to sun you too much. I don't want to be too powerful. Everything would die.
Convicting, Meredith. Convicting.
We do have the eclipse. We have a total solar eclipse this month. Yes. And that's a time of terror for like when the couple times that we've had a total solar eclipse in Oregon,
Yeah.
like I have a visceral body sense of terror of the sun
It,
being gone.
it's an extremely eerie experience because
Yeah.
everything gets quiet,
Yeah. Because
really
everything's
quiet.
afraid. You can
Yeah.
feel the animals are like,
Yeah.
oh no, this isn't right. This isn't how it's going to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 It is.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Yeah. Wow. Oh, very good. Very apt. Amazing. So now that you mentioned being a little bit terrified, let's go into the next section of the song, which is every now and then I get a little bit lonely, a little bit nervous, a little bit terrified. What fears are rising to the surface about what we haven't noticed? The Emperor, the time. And the card for that is Eight of Wands. And the Eight of Wands card is like everything is streaming towards you and you're on your way and things are happening and it's fast. And the card in this deck is eight firecrackers with the fuse lit, so about ready to pop off. And I think that bodes pretty apt for what we are dealing with culturally and societally. It does feel like we are, just to preview another part of the song, living in a powder keg and giving off sparks. Like it's a thing. So, Eight of Wands here, it can be about the momentum of it. It can be like we're going really fast and it's kind of challenging to manage that. And it's also a card to warn us of possible burnout and that we want to be thoughtful about how we're balancing our energies during this time. That's the Eight of Wands here. And yeah, do you have any thoughts about Eight of Wands on this one, Meredith?
I think it's interesting. Is the Hermit also paired with
The
that
Hermit
for fear?
is every now and then I fall apart, which is what
Okay.
is ready to release, but they are on the same level of this total eclipsed heart.
Yeah, it was interesting to me the ways that we use overwhelm to avoid sitting with ourselves, kind
Yeah.
of.
Uh-huh.
I have to fix this problem for this other person. I have all these work obligations. I have the Eight of Wands isn't strictly an overwhelm card. It's like the action that comes before the collapse, I feel like. But
Mm-hmm.
I think what you said is right. Like we have a lot of fear around the powder keg that is the international and national climate in the United States. I think we also have a lot of fear personally about powder kegs in our individual lives, like being straightforward with people. Really, I tend to think the national climate and the personal climate are mirrors of each other. The amount of people that I know who are want Congress to take action but aren't willing to have honest conversations with family members is a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people. And I think if we're not having the honest conversations, if we're not saying the way that you're showing up is unacceptable to people in our lives, we can't expect government officials to do it because
Mm-hmm.
we've voted them in based on our personal willingness to confront problems, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That makes sense. And I do think that pulling the next card in to this every now and then I fall apart, that is the Hermit for this.
Yeah.
And it is sort of like, yeah, what have we been secretly terrified of? What is emerging? And I think the point of overwork into collapse is really the cycle that these two cards point to.
Yeah.
I think the Hermit can also be a really empowering card. And so perhaps instead of overwork leading to collapse, it's something more like how do you tap into your inner wisdom and bring it forward so that you don't have to go disappear in a hole for, I don't know, 4 years if you're someone like me, for instance. But
Yeah.
like it's sometimes important, I think, for us to go back into our internal wisdom and tap into that and then bring it back out into action. So these cards do feel like they fit together in
They're
a bit of a
related.
cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it felt to me. And then I feel like ultimately, no matter how busy, we are just ourselves. We are just a
Hmm.
person, a body, a mind,
Yeah.
emotions, spirit. That is the reality of it. And
Yeah.
the busyness, the conflict, whatever we're distracting ourselves with,
Mhm.
we still are just our little selves.
Yeah. And I think that's so important and so challenging, but it is a reminder of limits.
Yeah.
And I really hate limit. I hate realizing I'm not limitless. It's very frustrating to me.
Yeah. I wonder if you could also interpret this, though, to say, on that sort of broader political scale, like you're talking about, like, it's not just about us. If we're releasing the Hermit card,
Mhm.
it's not just about us, it is about community. And we're afraid that if
Yeah.
we take action, it's going to be an explosive thing, but sometimes you can just take a small action
Mhm.
that's healthy for yourself, healthy for your community, and it doesn't have to be a huge explosion.
Yeah. Yay. I love it when it's not an explosion. That's my favorite. And I need you now tonight. What do we need? And that is death.
Cheerful.
This reading is a little intense. But that's eclipse season for you bitches. That's how it works. I'm sorry, it's pronounced witches. Yeah. It's intense. It's actually funny because if you look at this card, which you can see, I think we'll have it linked in the show notes or wherever it goes. Meredith is the magic person who does it. There's a like Ouroboros looking figure at the top. There's like a white circle and the blackness inside of it. It looks like an eclipse.
The best way for people to see the cards is going to be to watch the YouTube video. That's because it's hard to link them in the show notes.
Excellent. All right, great. So there's death, and death is a cycle. It's a rebirth cycle. It's a letting things fall away and pass on and moving into the next thing. It's a doula card, I think, of, how do we bring forth what happens next? It does require us allowing what was to no longer be. And that is hard because it's a scary thing to let go of what we know, even if it's the devil we know, it's like the death card is how do you move forward? It's allowing things to fall off you. It's releasing this form. So yeah, that's I
Yeah.
guess what we need, which is great because eclipse season sort of in a way the darkening of the sun and all of the things that happen in the like lightning moments of eclipses absolutely can bring about this feeling. What do you think about the death card?
I think, I've been thinking about, so some astrologers are saying that the transits that are happening this year are really reinforcing old systemic harmful cultural patterns, and others are saying this is a extinction burst of those patterns before we transform into the new. And I tend to think there's an endless realm of possibility, and we have to make these choices to transform, or we can stay. One of the decks that I use with the death card, like the death card in one of the decks that I use, talks about basically our lungs being full of the ashes of old lifetimes, and that we need to allow the death of those patterns of those lifetimes so that we can breathe again. To me, that's this profound image of transformation that includes grief. But I guess we have to be willing to feel the grief of the old systems without pretending that there's not grief, that it's like just the joy of change, in order to really make that change happen. This is what comes up for me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that does feel like a place that we are. And I think in some ways, just relating it to being a white lady, I think it makes a lot of sense. There is something to be gained and lost, and
Yeah.
losing does hurt, even when it's losing something you do want to lose. Like,
Yeah.
I got divorced years ago, like forever ago. And I love my divorce. I love it. I'm so divorce positive. I'm just like spreading the gospel of like, hey, you could get divorced. It's awesome. But at the same time, in order to allow that to happen for myself, I also had to grieve the marriage that I had wanted to have, that I
And the
didn't
dream
get
of
to
the
have.
life that you thought it was going to be,
Yeah.
the dream of the self that could have been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or the life that I had envisioned for myself and set out to make, and it just didn't work out. And that's hard and sad. And at the same time, allowing that to pass away and then moving into my next phase of becoming who I am was really important. And it's also not easy. Now we're finally to we're living in a powder keg and giving off sparks. A really good part of the song. It's building. It's like, oh, good lyrics. Amazing. What is ready to ignite? Ooh, Knight of Wands. It's literally fire. How cute. Knight of
Yeah.
Wands, a badass. Knight of Wands, driven by passion. Knight of Wands takes the lumps and keeps on going. It's a very driving card. It's a like, I'm going to say relentless, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But like really something that is, I feel like, opening to the next like, I don't know. Going from the death card to Knight of Wands feels extremely hopeful because it's a death that results in something really intense and passionate, and that can bring about major change. And the Knight of Wands, I feel like, is a really great indicator of the kind of change that's possible if we devote ourselves to doing the thing. That on a personal level and on the collective level, for sure. And that's sort of going back to, are we willing to have the difficult conversations in our own lives that, you know, our congressional representation we wish would be having at the federal level, you know? That's a good question. And this I think is also an opportunity. Let's think of we are going into some midterm elections that no one's talking about anymore because the only thing we're talking about is how the federal government is clearly trying to take over the electoral map and also all elections. So, you know, we're in a space, but I think Knight of Wands to me is like we don't have to take that. We can do something about it. And so this is
Yeah.
our moment to do that.
Yeah. I think do something about it is a big theme in this whole reading is if you're afraid that doing something is going to be too much, you still gotta.
And the Knight of Wands is the definition of too much.
Yeah.
The Knight of Wands is probably a Sagittarius with like a Leo moon, let's say. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Fire, 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 fire. So yeah, that's what we're looking at here for what is ready to ignite. And then the last card, well, it's not the last card. There's actually another card after that. But the last card of the theme is, and we'll only be making it right. What's our best outcome? Devil, releasing ourselves from these oppressive systems and substances and relationships and things that keep us from being the Knight of Wands that we actually are. And so the Devil card is a confronting card, I think. It's because it has such a dramatic name, but also the reality that we do all have different devils, or if you will, hearken back to our podcast about entities. We
Yeah.
also have the demons, the thought demons, and things that hold us hostage when we really are able to set ourselves free. Meredith, let me just tell you a personal hostage that I have myself, which is me, that I have a thought pattern that Meredith and I have named James Dobson. Not a pattern I love. I really despise all the things about James Dobson and focus on the family and the gross things that come out of there. But I do have a very strong inner critic that is telling me constantly that I am wrong and that I'm doing it bad and that I need to change and be better or something.
And be
Like
more disciplined, kind of,
definitely
in like a vague
definitely
way.
trying to get me to be more of a disciplined daddy. Yes, and I'm
Yeah.
not that guy. So, yeah, I think that's one devil I would like to release myself from. But what is yours, you know? And
I
what
so yeah, it's a good question. The one that I've really been thinking a lot about is it's this dynamic of Brene Brown calls it foreboding joy, but it's basically if I'm too content, if I'm too happy, if I'm too abundant, something bad's going to happen, so I better suffer ahead of time to prove I'm working hard so that I can protect attract the abundance that I have in my life, or I better feel appropriately stressed out about consequences that I didn't want in my life. So I'm a person, like many people, who has an EIDL loan from COVID from
Mhm.
my former business. And the way that's being processed in the federal government is completely unhinged because you can't, nobody works at the Small Business
We
Association
don't have a
anymore.
federal government anymore.
Yeah.
But
And so you
yeah.
just get form letters if you try to engage with them at all. And then I've talked to a few people, actual humans who still work at the SBA, and they're like, yeah, sorry, we literally have no power to do anything about these sort of nonsense extractive. Anyway, it's kind of the detail of it, but my
That's where the devil
individual,
is.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But my individual like my immediate experience of life is very abundant. I have just this life that I really love right now. And then I'm like, there's this technical thing that I can't figure out. So I should probably stress and agonize over it to prove that I'm responsible enough to have
Yeah.
the abundant life that I have, rather than
Yes.
experiencing the abundance of this life that I've created. And by abundant, I drink tea every morning that I love. I have a dog who I adore. I'm able to give astrology readings to people, and it's so fun. I
Mhm.
make potions and candles with my time, and people buy them. It's just these amazing, wonderful. I have friends who are so fun to talk to and so generative. And none of that has any relationship to this weird technical problem, you
Mhm.
know? So it's like my devil's almost like, I better hang on to the devil,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Right. It makes so much sense, and it is something it sounds very Plutonian. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
As with
yeah,
all things with me.
as with all things, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the devil. And then I really like this, but I do always like to pull an overall energy card.
Yeah.
And the card for that today is Two of Pentacles. And I think that Two of Pentacles being about balance and the physical realm, it's about how do you live in a human body with a human soul? And like how do you bring those things to bear? How do you balance the devil and the emperor? How do you balance the Eight of Wands and the Hermit? How do we balance death and Knight of Wands? Like, how do we bring these things together and hold them in tension while also making the tiny adjustments that are needed all the time to maintain balance and sustainability? And that's, I think, a huge part of this. It's like we can drive ourselves off a cliff because we're so determined, but we also do need that like thoughtfulness, the moving at the pace of human time that actually does allow us to be settled in our nervous systems, in our human bodies that are fed, getting enough rest, getting enough water, like the basics of life that we will forget to do when things get really stressful and we get overwhelmed. So I think that as an antidote, I guess, to that Eight of Wands hermit thing, the overwhelm into collapse thing, Two of Pentacles, I think, gives us a lot to lean on for how do we
Yeah.
get to cultivate our lives instead of how do we force ourselves to be flame out in our lives.
I've also been thinking about the concept of too much of a good thing is like still feels bad, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like
Yeah.
the Two of Pentacles can be a too much of a good thing kind of card of like, how do
Hmm.
you, when you have more than one thing that is awesome and time still exists and physical reality still exists, do you
More
like,
limits.
how do you like be in a human body in linear time and have two great things kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. It is. It's a juggling. It's a balancing. It's a stand on one
Yeah.
foot, then stand on the other foot. Yeah.
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 I think that so August 1st is Lughnasadh, and it's the Celtic festival to the god Lu, and Lu is the god of athletics and accomplishment and taking action. But the festival is dedicated to his stepmother, who in legend cleared the fields of Ireland so that they could be planted, but she died clearing the fields for them to be planted, right? And I think that there is sort of an emperor devil to a pentacle. Like all of this reading is very Lughnasadh. Like we have power, we have bodies, we have ability to take action, we have all of it. And then we're afraid something bad's going to happen if we take too much action, right? There's
Yeah.
the overwhelm, the fear of that. And we have to release what's not ours and come back to balancing the good that is there for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yay. And speaking of dates and times and celebrations and transits, let's do that.
Do it. Let's do the astrology. Thank you for a beautiful tarot read, Sarai.
Thank you.
Okay, so August 1st. So August 1st is Lughnasadh, and that's the summer heat, height of summer. We're having massive fires on the west coast of the United States, but there were even fires on the east coast. Very fire summer, hot, dry. Lughnasadh is associated with athletic games and getting outside in the summer and action. So that's fun, and also it can be overload, right? We kind of want to balance. And this month there are two eclipses. So the lunations this month are August 12th and August 27th. The first one is the new moon eclipse, which is a total solar eclipse that's going to go over Greenland, like that area of the world. And that's in Leo. So that is a very just hot, unstable, flashy eclipse. My recommendation in eclipse season is that Two of Pentacles card. Find balance when you have the tendency to overload. If your brain's like, gotta go do this, gotta go do that, gotta go do this, gotta go do that, stop. If the more you don't want to stop and pause, the more you should stop and pause and just come back to your human body and maybe take a nap instead of doing the millions of things on your to-do list. The full moon eclipse is a partial lunar eclipse. So that's when the earth comes between the moon and the sun, and the moon and the sun are on opposite sides of the earth. And that is it's the last eclipse in the Pisces Virgo axis. So the nodes, the north node and the south node, mark where the eclipse points are. And they've been in Virgo and Pisces for the past couple of years. And now they're moving into Leo and Aquarius. The last time they were in Leo and Aquarius was 2018. But this is going to be a different experience than that. So in that time, the 2018 time that the nodes were in Leo and Aquarius, the north node was in Leo and the south node was in Aquarius. This time it's the opposite. The north node is going to be in Aquarius and the south node is going to be in Leo. The reason that's important is because of where the eclipses happen, and the eclipses shake everything up. They are, traditionally times when leaders were born and leaders died. The rulers, the emperors, were born and died. And so I personally think that these eclipses are a good time to do spiritual work around places in our national and international leadership that need to be destabilized and changed. And I use Lori Cabot's Book of Shadows for some of my spell work. And there's a Morrigan black feather ritual that you can do in Lori Cabot's Book of Shadows. And essentially, you take a black feather and you mail it to somebody who the Morrigan should be alerted to their behavior. And the Morrigan is a goddess of battle, protection. and abundance. And so the Morgan has a lot of power also over restoring gender balance. So there's a story about one part of the Morgan. Her name's Maka. She was married to a man who got drunk and told the king that his wife could run faster than the horses, and she was very pregnant. And the king took her husband captive and said, "You have to prove this, or else I'm going to kill you." So the king forces Maka to race the fastest horses, and she wins. She first begs to be allowed to give birth before she races the horses. And the king says, "No, I'm going to kill your husband if you don't do it now." So she races the horses and gives birth to twins at the end of the battlefield, and then curses all the men in the area that every time they're at their worst moment, they'll experience the pains of childbirth. And so to me, there's this gender restoring balance between genders related to the Morgan in that story. It's like you have been acting in an oppressive way based on your gender privilege, and now you don't get that anymore. So I think that this is a great time basically to send black feathers to people in power who have some gender privilege and are acting out oppression based on that. And there are many options for that. So many options. If you don't have a black feather, you can take a postcard and draw a black feather on it and send it. And you don't have to do a return address. You can just send it. So that's
Love
an
it.
option for these eclipses that I encourage people to take. Okay, let's go back to the beginning of the month. Those are the lunations, August 12th and August 27th. They're not good times to do personal rituals. They're unstable energy times. So if you're casting spells, if you are doing other rituals, making money bowls, anything like that, don't choose the eclipse days, although I usually recommend new moons for that kind of thing, not August for that. It's a good time to shake things up. Okay. August 6th, Venus goes into Libra. And so it was fun that Sarai was saying it's not just a total eclipse, it's a total eclipse of the heart, because Venus in Libra is a fun, romantic. Venus rules Libra. Libra is about harmony. When Venus is in Libra, we're really able to relate to each other well. It gives us that energy of being able to connect and see other people's point of view. And so this is actually a good time for the total eclipse of the heart kind of energy. Like, how do we shake free of relating in ways that aren't serving us and welcome in ways of relating to other people, connecting with other people that are correct for us? That same day, the sun in Leo trines Saturn in Aries. And that's a good day to take a look at the places that you are taking action, the places that you are expanding who you are and your visibility and the results that they're getting. This is a good day to build structures around that. Even Saturn in Aries is never very happy. Aries is an impulsive sign and Saturn's a deliberate planet. It likes structure, so it's not very happy there. But I still think within this dynamic, it can kind of give you space to build structure around your own personal visibility. And then that same day, August 6th, later that evening, Mercury ends its post shadow in Cancer. So whenever there's a Mercury retrograde, there's a pre shadow before Mercury goes backwards. And then there's a post shadow when Mercury starts going direct, where it's going over the same space in the chart. So that sort of ends that Mercury retrograde era. Do you have thoughts about the Venus and Libra or any of that kind of beginning of the month
Yeah,
stuff?
I mean, I think it is so cute that it fits the theme of the reading so nicely. I love it. Yeah, and interesting that the Mercury retrograde shadow is lifting on the same day, I think for me, experiencing Mercury retrograde in Cancer, it hits a lot of things in my chart. So I really get it, like hard. I can't wait
It's
for
a
August 6th.
lot.
It is a lot. It's just a really emotional sign, and there's so much about it that like can happen. So I think it's a hopeful moment and one to
Yeah.
enjoy. You know,
I
we've
think
got
it's
a
like,
trine with Saturn, so we don't have to be like mean about it.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think one of the things about Mercury retrograding Cancer is it's like the mistakes, the snafus, the little things feel so personal.
Yeah. It's very stabby. Yeah.
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 You will then be delighted to hear that Mercury goes into Leo on August 9th in the morning.
Yay. Hmm.
So I, for one, am not mad about Mercury being done. Every time we're having all the Mercury retrogrades and water signs, and I just feel like it's a lot. And
Yeah.
every time Mercury then goes into the fire sign next to it, it's a little bit like, okay, we can do this. We can
We can
keep
dry
going.
off. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. We can start thinking again, moving again.
Mhm.
And also, it just, some of the sensitivity, I think, just eases up,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, even overall, Cancer season moving into Leo season always zhuzhes for
Uh,
me, even though I
yeah.
have a Cancer sun. Maybe it's why.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Mercury and Leo can be a little bit dominating. So it can be more of a time of open conflict. I think this, you think that, I'm going to use my force to change your mind. Whereas Mercury in Cancer is just a little bit more like, oh, you think that? Oh, we can find a pretty way to work with that. I won't tell you what
Yeah.
I think because I'll just protect it over here.
Why are you talking about me so much?
It's not meant to be an attack. It's like a nice thing. It's just
I guess so. I guess. It's nice to
Mercury.
someone. Hmm.
No, it's very beautiful. And Mercury in Leo is more direct. Later that day on August 9th, Mercury in Leo squares Chiron in Taurus. So it goes into Leo and then squares Chiron real fast because Chiron is at 0 degrees of Taurus. And that is, I said the thing, and now my feelings are hurt that I said the thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It has a what about my needs
Mhm.
quality to it. And yeah, it it's not fun when you're trying to express your needs to hear yourself say them in a way that's not going to get your needs met,
Yeah.
and to hear yourself saying things that you know are the thing that is preventing from having your needs get met, but then you're like watching yourself almost from the outside. And I think like Mercury square Chiron can be a little bit of that, of like I'm
Mhm.
saying the thing and I'm watching myself say it and it's not the thing that's gonna work, but I like have to
It just has
say
to
it all.
finish coming out of my mouth. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can also be our thought-based wounding around sort of fixed ideas of ourselves. Leo is a fixed sign, Taurus is a fixed sign. I have this need and it must be met, and there's no flexibility. I have this thought about myself that is contrary to getting that need met, and there's no flexibility. And it's hard for Mercury is a very flexible planet. But it can feel painful and wounding to have those areas where we just can't see outside of the rigid pattern of how we
Yeah.
see ourselves.
Hmm. Dobson.
Yeah. August 10th, the moon is void of course all day, and that's the modern definition of void of course. But I do like to mark when there's these long void of course moons. I don't mark all of the void of course moons because it's not uncommon for the moon to be void of course, but when it's all day, I think it's worth taking notice of. A void of course moon is a day to get things done that don't require results, that you don't want results from, or to relax and restore. I have the experiential feeling of a void of course moon where my brain is almost like, uh, what was I supposed to do? What's going on? Like,
Yeah. What day is
oh,
it?
what was that? And then you can get frustrated about that and try to push through, or you can just sit back Two of Pentacles into your body and let things happen
Mhm.
and let yourself relax. So August 10th is a good day to take off. But if you're the kind of person, which I think a lot of people are, who take days off in order to go do fun things, like to still take action, you might as well work that day because rather than trying to accomplish. But it's a good day to rest. It's a good day to put things through that you don't want to have major consequences from.
Mhm.
Venus in Libra trines Pluto in Aquarius that day. That is like a day to add that depth of charge. I was talking to somebody recently who was saying that they uh, wanted to know in their chart about finding their sort of soulmate type love. And I was sort of like, what's going on with Pluto in this person's
Ha ha
chart?
ha ha.
Because that's a very Pluto Neptune question to ask. And I think Venus Pluto trines are good days to look at the depth of how you relate, especially with Venus and Libra, to look at the depth of how you specifically relate to yourself. The air signs want us to think about everybody else, but you have to think about yourself in order to think about everybody else. You have to start with the self and honor the self and partner with the self in order to be able to contribute effectively to the community, which is Aquarius, or the partner, which is Libra. And
Mhm.
so I think this day is a good day to look at the depths of that, but it can be a charged day, it can be an
Mhm.
underworld day, it can be a day to look at what is underneath the relationship dynamics that may be challenging with you. And then right after that, just a few hours after that, Venus in Libra opposes Neptune in Aries. So this whole day is like a day where if you want to get super romantic, it could be a romantic day. It's a void of course moon, so you're not going to be thinking clearly. Venus opposite Neptune is just let's be the most romantic possible and envision the most romantic scenes possible. Venus trine Pluto is like, and we can add all the depth of the underworld to it. We can Persephone and Hades this whole experience.
Great role play option for that day, guys.
Keep it in the sheets, not in the streets. And by sheets, I also mean maybe read a romance novel. Like
Could do
maybe
that.
watch a romantic TV show instead of acting this out in your personal life, which can create a lot of later frustration.
Yeah.
Au- August 11th, Mars goes into Cancer. So we get another dose of Cancer in our year's experience. I'm not super excited for Mars to go into
You
Cancer.
really don't love it when Mars is in Cancer. It's
It's
just
not,
like so agitating and so itchy. It's like I'm wearing a shirt made of Velcro and it's just the like pokey parts of the Velcro touching my skin.
but like also the inside of your arm, like the sensitive
Yes.
under parts of your skin. It's
It's
like
itchy. It's very
it
I not to
also
be a downer, but I don't welcome Mars into my
I
domicile.
I have a hard time putting a positive spin on it. It's very Patriot Wars coded, like one of those stories of Hatfield and McCoy stories. Like I'm fighting Romeo and Juliet,
Yeah.
two houses fighting each other just
Some
cuz.
feud energy.
Yeah. It has strong feud energy. The thing that you have to do with feud energy, I think, is find the principle that you are loyal to, like the concept or the experience of your life that you are loyal to, instead of attaching your loyalty to the people that seem like they're going to make your life secure, I
Uh-huh.
guess. Because it
Yeah,
also
that's
has
good.
like cult energy, I think. Like loyalty to the family is kind of cult energy, I think.
Yeah.
And the way that you handle cult energy is to attend to yourself and your own needs instead
Mhm.
of trying to manage everybody else and make them behave in certain ways to keep you safe. This is
Yeah.
very challenging with Mars in Cancer, though. So I'm saying it in kind of a simplistic, trite way. Mars in Cancer is very like the family at all costs must be safe, and then we can do other things.
Yeah. We really focus on the family. That's more of that. More of that Dobson nonsense. You guys. Yeah.
The
Yeah, yeah.
Dobson stuff. But yeah,
Mm.
don't do the Dobson
Don't do
stuff.
Dobson.
Because I think ultimately the problem with it is all cults are hypocritical, right? And that's a central problem of cult behavior is that the rules that apply to the people in power don't apply the same way to the people who don't have power. And
Yeah.
that's a Mars and Cancer kind of vibe, I think. And I think if you have loyalty to the principles you believe in, so for example, if you believe in peace, you don't enact war. War is not the path to peace. If you believe in abundance, you don't enact suffering. Enacting suffering is not the path to abundance. So if you have loyalty to the principles and expect yourself to, then you're not randomly applying principles in a way that is just primal safety coded.
Mhm.
That's my best advice that I can think of. August 12th, Mars in Cancer sextiles Chiron in Taurus. And I kind of like that because that is what we're talking about. What I was just talking about is coming back to your needs. Like if you
Mhm.
have a need for food, starving yourself is not the path to get food. Like
Yeah.
going to the library isn't necessarily the place to get food. I'm just thinking of the ways that we try to get our needs met in the most difficult way possible. And I think the nice thing about Mars is action. Mars is taking action. Mars can create movement.
Mhm.
So Mars sextiling Chiron brings us back to our wounding around needs, specifically in Taurus,
Mhm.
and then says, how can we take action to get those needs met? How can
Cool.
you take the direct action? That's the same day as the new moon eclipse, the total solar eclipse. And then Mercury in Leo sextiles Uranus in Gemini later in the afternoon. So in the morning, there's the Mars sextile Chiron. Then pretty soon after the new moon eclipse, and then Mercury in Leo sextiles Uranus in Gemini. And so that Mercury Uranus sextile is also how can we make change? How can we think of new things, new ways of being, new ways of doing, new ways of thinking about ourselves, new systems? It's a supportive energy for change.
Mhm.
So we want to think about what really gets our needs met, not what pretends to get our needs met, and how we can think about things in a new way to better serve ourselves and release old structures that don't serve us. Did you have thoughts about that?
I mean, actually, I do. It's mainly that I feel like Mercury sextiling Uranus is very Knight of Wands y to me, and I think that
Yeah.
is just an
Yeah,
interesting
especially
connection.
in Leo. Yeah, with
Mhm.
the fire energy. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So, and that's the eclipse day. So, that's a good day to care for yourself. Take intentional action rather than overwhelming yourself.
Yeah.
August 13th, Mercury in Leo sextiles Venus in Libra. And I think that it's kind of nice because Venus is making a lot of aspects this month in Libra. And I think Mercury in Leo is a literal. I'm like really digging on these placements. I feel today. I don't mean
We're
to.
just in a mood. We're in a certain mood.
Yeah. But Mercury and Leo can be like literal. I told you what to do and you should have done it. There's a tweet that goes around sometimes and I overheard this woman at a airport bar yell into the phone, "You could have done it the way I told you to in the first place, and then it would have worked, but you can still try that now." And like this woman's my hero. And I feel like that's strong. Mercury and Leo. You could have done it the way I told you to do it. But then Venus in Libra is so relatable and so interpersonal. And so it's a good day to have, I think, direct communication that also attends to our relationships. August 13th. August 15th, Mercury goes conjunct Jupiter in Leo. And so these are just nice placements after the eclipse to expand, repair, even. Mercury conjunct Jupiter is big thinking in your Leo house. So wherever Leo lands in your chart, it can be like boasting big talk, talking big, but I don't think in a bad way. I think that's a fun
Yeah.
Mercury
I
Jupiter
like an
Mercury.
unhumble brag. I
Yeah.
like it. I support it. I think people should say good things about themselves.
Yeah. And August 15th is a good day to do that. August 17th, Mars in Cancer squares Neptune in Aries. Mercury in Leo trines Saturn in Aries. And Venus in Libra sextiles Jupiter in Leo. It's a fiery month. We've got beautiful Venus in Libra, and we got a lot of fire going on around it, like a lot of fire air kind of stuff. And then Mars in Cancer being like the
A
family
wet
focused
wool
on.
sweater that you're
Yeah,
wearing. Yeah.
like a little uncomfy. Mars square Neptune. I'm not excited about that, to be honest. It's like I better go take a bunch of confusing action that I don't know why I just took. Luckily, it's in the middle of the night, so I think the days leading up, like the day before, is going to be a little more, why did I do that? Am I in a fight with somebody? I'm doing a mediation right now with people, and I keep getting emails from some of them where I'm like, does this person think that they haven't told me this before? They've definitely told me this 4 or 5 times, and I'm aware it's also not totally relevant. Are you trying to fight?
Yeah.
Or are you genuinely confused? But I think this happens a lot of times when we're in arguments. We're like,
Mhm.
we overblow the other side's position in our minds so that we
Yeah.
can create a straw man argument that we can fight against so that we
Yeah.
can win, right?
Totally.
I think if we're trying to win this month, we're going to have a hard time. We're going to have it invites a lot of conflict if we're trying to win. I think there are many goals that are super valid. And I think if you're playing a game, winning is valid. But if you're not playing a game, maybe think of other goals than trying to win this month. And then Mercury in Leo training Saturn in Aries is structured communication. It's a moment of clarity where you can say the thing that needs to be said. So this is a weird day where the actions you take might be confusing, but the words that you say have clarity. And then Venus sextiling Jupiter is abundant, beautiful, expansive, fun energy. So if you're trying to party and not trying to win, you're going to have better results on August 17th. I think it's a good day for partying. It's a good day for communicating. It's not a great day for trying to fight and win.
Mhm.
August 21st, Venus in Libra opposes Saturn in Aries. And that's a day of consequences if you have been overblowing your relationships, if you have been not relating in a way that has integrity, you're going to get results that you don't like and be able to look at those results around August 21st and reevaluate how you're relating to people. If you are taking action that has integrity, if you're attending to your own needs, a Venus opposition to Saturn is a good day where you're going to get results that you do like. So just be realistic about the external results in your relationships and how your relationships support you on August 21st. August 22nd, the sun goes into Virgo. I like Virgo season. Virgo season is like pumpkin spice latte. It's when you start getting ready for Halloween and everything turns pumpkin-y. What do you think about Virgo
I
season?
like Virgo season too because it's, it's the harvesty time. And it's also a time for me when, like, after Cancer season, I'm just like, ah. And then Leo season, I'm like, and then Virgo
Yeah.
season, I'm like, ah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how
That's
it
how I
is.
feel too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the in the West Coast now of the United States, we do have it does still tend to be fire season, but it starts to be when it calms down. And in early September, there's a little more rain, maybe. And so that's another relief about it. Sun in Virgo, Virgo energy is analytical. It can be critical because Virgo sees the component parts of everything. Virgo doesn't necessarily think of itself as judgmental or critical. It just lists things to analyze them and reorder them, right? But it
Mhm.
can go into judgmental and critical energy. Um, I had surgery and when I was coming out of anesthesia, I was super mad because I had been organizing the entire universe in my anesthesia. My moon is in Virgo, and I was like, oh man, I got to get back to organizing the universe. But it was like relaxing to me. And there is a little bit of an element of the Virgo season fall that's like, oh, we can tidy the house up again, get ready
Mhm.
for the rainy season.
Yeah.
Like it. August 23rd, the sun in Virgo trines Chiron in Taurus. So, most of the time when planets are going into a new sign right now, they are making some kind of aspect with Chiron because it's in 0 degrees of Taurus. And I think that's interesting because it is just early stages of us investigating the wounding that we have around our needs being met. And the
Mhm.
sun in Virgo is very practical about meeting needs,
Yeah.
about the tidiness of the home being a need that we get met, of clean. Some people hate this language, but clean food is a very Virgo coded
Yeah.
language.
Mhm.
Um, greens, having your green juice, I feel like is like a bit of a Virgo Cancer kind of
Yeah.
vibe. But taking your vitamins is very Virgo Taurus energy. I think it's a good practical day, August 23rd, to evaluate your body's needs,
Mhm.
not your mind, not your emotion. Just literally, how are you caring for your body? Have you seen the doctor this year? You should go to the dentist. Remind yourself to care for your body on August 23rd. And it's supportive energy for that. It's not like triggering energy. It's like just a good time to get organized around your physical needs and your family's physical needs, your dependents' physical needs. August 25th, Mercury also goes into Virgo, and then Mercury almost immediately trines Chiron in Taurus too. So I am not mad that Mercury is just speeding its way through Leo. I feel okay about that. I love Mercury in Virgo. Mercury rules Virgo. It just is like very practical, analytical thinking energy. Again, great time to make sure you've made your doctor's appointments, that you're caring for your health, that
Back to
you
school season,
yeah.
getting your supplies together. Yeah.
Yeah, get your pencils and your pencil sharpeners.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Do they still do that? Do pencil sharpeners exist?
They have to sharpen
Have
them somehow, so I
to.
guess. Great question.
If they do, you should get a pencil sharpener and a bouquet of pencils. Yeah.
That's a great idea. That's a perfect
Yeah.
idea.
For Virgo season. And then Mercury trining Chiron is thinking about the needs. It's good insight into the needs that you have and communicating the needs that you have in your physical body.
Mhm.
August 27th, Mercury in Virgo is Kazimi the sun. So that's when Mercury is in the heart of the sun. It's conjunct the sun. The biggest difference of a Mercury Kazimi versus Mercury approaching the sun is that planets that are in close proximity to the sun, when you look at the sky with your eyes, you can't see them because the sun's rays eclipse them essentially. But then the traditional wisdom is that once they're in the heart of the sun, when they're exact with the sun, charges them up with power. So when you can't see them, their power is reduced, but when they're in the heart of the sun, their power is charged. As a practical matter, I've not seen this have a lot of real meaning to me, but I think this whole period of time, August 23rd until the Mercury Kazemi, is a time that is good for thinking. It's good for organizing. And then you might get a little extra charge on August 27th, but also that's the same day as the full moon lunar eclipse. So I wouldn't be surprised if you don't feel great or feel super energized that day, even if your brain is active. So that's where the moon is in Pisces and the sun is in Virgo, and they're opposite each other in Pisces and Virgo. Moon in Pisces is very feeling, very compassionate, very spiritual. Sun in Virgo is very practical and analytical in Sun in Virgo. So those energies are tense, opposing energies with each other. Um, and I think that they can be generally good times to release things related to those areas of your chart. But this one is unstable energy because it's an eclipse. August 28th, Mercury in Virgo squares Uranus in Gemini. I think usually a square is tense energy. I kind of this one because I think it's anything that any kind of thinking that is left over that feels rigid from that you've noticed earlier in the month. This is a great time where it just gets easier. Virgo is a mutable sign and Gemini is a mutable sign. And that just means that they're very flexible, they're changeable. They're both signs that are related to change in season, right? So they're adaptable. And so Mercury as our thinking and our communication, Uranus as electrical change, it charges it up, but in signs that are flexible towards change. So if you want to release old expectations of yourself, this is a good day for that. There is a Hellenistic void of course moon from 9:14 a.m. Pacific on August 28th until 7:37 p.m. on August 29th. This is very rare. This is 51 hours where the moon is not making any aspects to any planets. That's what a void of
Oh.
course moon is. A Hellenistic void of course moon means that the moon goes for 30 degrees or more without making any aspects to any planet. So the moon, our sense of security is just kind of offline. Nobody's talking to her. She's just doing her own thing. It's very hermit
Mm.
energy. Um, this is energy to not try to push through projects that you need a result from. Energy. So I think I've told this story before, but the lore is that the astrologer who worked for Ronald Reagan would tell him void of
Joan
course.
Quigley? Yes.
Yeah.
The wonderful Joan Quigley, who I love. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with Joan Quigley. Keep
She's
going.
super cool. Yeah. If he didn't want any kind of pushback on it, she would tell him void of course moon days, and he would pass executive orders or make announcements on those days. And it was like very effective way for it to go under the radar. So if you want things to go under the radar, August 28th and 29th, the whole day is the moon is void of course. Some people say file your taxes on void of course moon days because you won't get audited, things like that. So it might be sneaky, but why not try?
Yeah. Use it if it's there.
Yeah. And then the sun in Virgo squares Uranus in Gemini also on August 28th. And that's fairly similar to Mercury, but the sun is our identity. So it's a day where you can make shifts. Making shift is not initiating new projects that you need results from, right? It can be personal. It's more of a personal day. 2 days. August 31st, Venus in Libra starts her pre-shadow to go retrograde. So Venus is going to go retrograde on October 3rd and then end the post-shadow December 15th. So the Venus's retrograde cycle in Libra and Scorpio this year goes from August 31st through December 15th. And a Venus retrograde is a time where old relationships, old people come back to us. It's a time to revisit how gender equity is in the country. And Venus rules women, but I think I think it's valid to say more broadly, Venus rules, not men. Mercury, more typically non binary folks, Mercury's androgynous. Venus is more associated with women, uh, including trans women. But a Venus retrograde revisits how are women treated, how are trans women treated. The Barbie movie came out in a Venus retrograde. Um, but it's also a time personally where we can revisit how we relate to people, how our romantic partnerships are, but also how our friendships are. There's also Venus retrograde is associated with the Inanna story and Jesus's 40 days and 40 nights in the desert, like going into the Inanna goes into the underworld because her sister Reshka Gal's husband has died, and then the rulers of the underworld kill Inanna, and she has to be rescued by non-binary beings who are able to mourn with Reshka Gal enough that she releases Inanna back to the overworld, where Inanna realizes that her husband doesn't give a shit about her and hasn't even noticed that she's gone. The traditional tale.
A Venus in retrograde, everybody.
And then she sends her husband to the underworld in her place. And she realizes that her loyal servants have really cared that she was gone. The people who she's closest to have really cared that she was gone. But I think there is an underworld experience of revisiting our relating in the Venus retrograde. So the pre-shadow is the preparation point where we see themes that are going to come up during the retrograde. And then the retrograde is when Venus starts going backwards in the sky on October 3rd. That same day, August 31st, Jupiter in Leo trines Saturn in Aries. And that's a time where we can evaluate the expansion that we've had, the personal expansion that we've had, and the structures that we've built around it. Jupiter is expansion, Saturn is structure. And these are both in fire signs. So this is also very Knight of Wands energy, I think. It's very like, what are the actions that we're taking? What are the big actions that we're taking? And how do they support us personally? Leo and Aries is very about us, the person we're accomplishing.
I love that. I think it also harkens back to the positive read on the Emperor card too, of that like building the trellis to support the vine. You know, it is about bringing the fertility into a place that is sustainable and more supported. I love that.
And understanding our personal power, I think also the Emperor card. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Jupiter in Leo is very personal power.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Lovely.
Saturn in Aries is like drawing power towards us as a structural matter. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so total eclipse of the heart, folks. That's what we've got for you.
Oh yeah. Good stuff.
Very Venusian, very Eclipsean.
Having that eclipse on the full moon in Pisces, I think, is another total eclipse of the heart piece. So it's how cute. How cute. Thanks, Bonnie Tyler. We love you.
Yeah, we love you. Oh. Is there anything else that we should talk about with it?
I don't know, but I am curious, Meredith, if someone hears all of these exciting transits and is like, what does that do to my chart? Why is Sarai complaining about Mars in Cancer and her chart? What if someone wanted to get their chart read by you, what would they do?
They should go to fourthcupastrology.com. And the other thing that we don't always talk about on here is that I do weekly horoscopes every week, and those are on Substack at Fourth Cup, and then I post them on social media also, but like an edited version. So I go through, we do this month ahead, but then every week I also do a written analysis and horoscope for every sign. So that's also helpful. But I think for me, looking at my own house system specifically and where all of these land in my houses is really impactful for how I organize my rituals and how I organize my days off even.
Yeah. Smart.
What about Sarai? If people want to get in touch with their human bodies and how all of this lands in their human bodies and in their wants, and if they want to do a full Leo, Libra, Venus, Jupiter exploration of their wants and needs and how pleasure is for them, and get their own personal readings about their energy systems, how can they do that with you?
Well, my darlings, go to my website, saraijohnson.com, and you can book a discovery call with me if you want to work with me directly, or you can take the power quiz about your energetic system and get started that way. There's lots of different options for how to engage in the work, and those are some of the things that are available there. And that's the best way to get in touch.
And do an inner terrain reading. That's fun too.
Yeah, the inner terrain reading is super fun. It's a quick one, but it's a good glimpse at a few of your chakra landscapes and the guides that might be there. So it's a pretty fun one.
Yeah. So that's
Yay.
August. Go out and make change too.
Make change, have parties, and enjoy those exciting void of course moon days.
Yeah.
Yay.
All right.
We did it.